Molweni Quintessentials, I am back. My name is Posy. If you do not know or are new here, I saw how much you guys really enjoyed my video on how to write a tender proposal. So I thought, you know what, let me go more in depth. If you are interested and want to know how to respond to the scope of work or the terms of reference in a specific tender bid, then please stay tuned. The scope of work, simply put, is the activities that are expected from you, the bidder. What skills, what are the requirements, what is the need that a government organization, a private or public company is requesting? What do they want you to do? Simply put, will you be able to offer the services that are requested on this bidding document? If the question is yes, you've read through the document and you need to read through the document carefully, then you can start preparing and drafting a technical work plan. So what is supposed to go into your technical work plan? Let me give an example of a PR tender, for instance. They may require a panel. They will handpick a few companies that they want to work with over a duration, for the duration of that tender, be it 3 years, 5 years, with the option to extend. So basically, the organization will list the services that they require. In PR, it could be something like photography. They may look for events company. They may look for digital marketing agencies. They may look for PR agencies. They may look for a whole variety of below the line service offering, as an example. You as a PR agency need to decide from the scope of work that's listed, what are your strongest points? So you have to choose the terms of reference carefully, knowing what your strengths are. For example, Kazimla Communication, we know what our strengths are, and they are in content management. That includes writing, editing, proofreading, anything to do with copy. We know that we excel in that department. If there's a bid that lists content management, we'll definitely know that, okay, we can definitely respond to this. For things like maybe events, we wouldn't go too hard on those because we know that that's not our strong point and that's not even an area of passion or interest. It's very key to know what your interests are, what your strengths are, and what you are good at and what you are known for, and stick to that. You need to choose 2 or 3 or 4 that you know that you are good at. Don't try and do too many things all at once, because that is what is most likely to discredit your business. And to add to that, if you know that, for an example, I mentioned events is not really one of our core offerings, but you want to participate and put that as one of your service offerings as an agency, then you can always outsource and collaborate on that service, and you include that in your tender saying, okay, we are going to partner with such and such a company. And usually it's beneficial to partner with a BEE rated organization, particularly in South Africa, because you get points for that. You can use that company as a third party to perform some of the activities that you know that they're not your strengths, but you want to participate in that arena. It's very important to manage your partner companies because it also is part of your brand, and you don't want to be in a situation where you've outsourced the service and they're not delivering and you don't know how to solve certain things. Have some knowledge about how this specific service offering ought to function, what is required, and work with experts, of course, that you trust. Also, partnering with Black enterprises will obviously boost your points for the bid. And if memory serves me correctly, it should not exceed 30% of the work that is going to be required. That includes the whole scope of work in the tender proposal. You are not going to outsource all the work to this company, but you are going to, but it has to be limited to this 30%, and it cannot exceed that. Now, once you've decided on which service offerings you are going to be going for, now you need to research the organization whose bid you are responding to, because it's like an interview basically, but they're not interviewing you as an individual, they're interviewing you as an organization, and they want to see, are you able to comprehend what their business model is? are you able to respond to their requirements, and have you done the actual research? That's what they're checking. It's more like when you go to an interview, you Google the said company that you are going to be interviewed for, you see who the executives are, when the organization was established, all the basics. And I would recommend that start obviously on the website, about us, check the team, check the organogram, see who the CEO is and some of the executives. Once you've gone through the website, I would also recommend that you check the annual report so that you have an idea of the performance of the organization. So what are the key focus areas? You need to include that. What are the budget allocations for certain flagship programs? What are the projections for the next 5 to 10 years? Usually you will see all of that in the annual report. Once you've mined this information, put it into the technical work plan in a way that is creative, that tells a story, that does not plagiarize their actual website content, but you are showing that you have a comprehension, you have an understanding of what is required from you as the bidder. You need to tell a story, and you need to tell a good story, and you need to tell an interesting story, and you need to tell a coherent story, so that you can get the buy-in from the people that will be evaluating your bid, basically. Telling a good story means that, like I've mentioned, you've done the research, you've read up on the company. Now you need to talk about what you are planning to bring. Or you can talk about the years of experience that your organization has been in the field, some of the projects that you've worked on, and then also respond. Go back, always have the scope of work in front of you, and as you are telling the story, go bullet by bullet and respond to the questions that are being put before you as far as the capability of your organization is concerned. They will ask for media relations, so you talk about media relations. What can you do? What do you understand about it? What is the process? Tell the full story, but don't also give away too much because you want them to keep coming back. So it's basically you are pitching yourself. You are showing that you have an understanding of the request that is put in the bid, and you are responding to this request in a way that is succinct, in a way that is well researched, in a way that is going to put you ahead above the rest of your competitors. How do you plan on resolving some of the organization's needs? So also look into what are the gaps that you are picking up through your research. What value add are you proposing? What is the value proposition? And then of course your story cannot be boring. There is a bit of vanity metrics that also go into tender bids. Play around, tell the story, make it pop. It should not be too text heavy, but don't forget to include the important points that you need to incorporate into your technical work plan. And my recommendation is to follow step by step all the requests that are outlined in the scope of work, because bids, when it comes to tender bids, you have to follow it to the T, but you also need to make sure that you are still telling your story in a way that is going to be captivating to the evaluating committee. So let's assume that we are bidding for a events management bid. What are the things that I need to include? You need to provide a mock-up or a demonstration of your understanding of what it is that is required. So give real-time examples. In events management, for an example, how do I organize a webinar? First of all, I need to choose a date, need to design an invite. That invite, I need to craft the copy for the invite, send the copy to the graphic designer to design the invite. Once the designer has designed the invite, then we need to send it out on our social media platforms. Once that has been done, we need to send direct emails. So using whatever software that's there, MailChimp or any other, or just via normal email. Once you've sent out the emails, then you follow up on RSVPs. By maybe sending a link to the event a day before, so that you also reminding people that the event is taking place. And then the event takes place, you make sure that you've invited the key speakers, you've prepared the speeches for your spokespeople. and the agenda, the program, everything is available for people to click through. Hopefully you've sent that through your invite, and then at the end you send them a evaluation sheet to rate your event, etc. You need to list all of these steps that I've mentioned in your bid, that this is how I would do in a specific event, to show that you actually know how to organize an event, and these are the steps to follow. You will do the same for your field as a demonstration of your understanding of the requirements that have been listed in the scope of work. One thing to be careful of when you are doing your mock-up is that you don't want to give away too much, because not everybody has your best interest at heart, and they can take your great ideas and implement them without your permission. Give them a teaser, give them the basics, like I've listed to you. This is how you do an event. It's not a top secret. Events follow a set pattern. How will your webinar differ from another PR agency's? So you can give them teasers, but don't give too much, because they will take your ideas, they will run with them, and they will not pay you your due. You should also be talking about your team in your bid to demonstrate that you have the capacity, the capability, and the skill set. Include CVs, include qualifications, and have an organogram of who is who. This displays that you're not a one-man show, that you actually have a team, your team is capable. And in addition to your organogram and your team overview, you should also have reference letters. Most tenders, all tenders, will usually tell you that they want a certain amount of reference letters to say, okay, Kazimla Communications has actually done webinars before. So you'll ask one of your clients who you've worked with before to include that you've done webinars and you've done them well. So include reference letters. They usually want 3 to 5 reference letters. So that is very important, because it also adds to your points. Which brings me to my next point. So the point system, you will see usually on the last page or just towards the end of the terms of reference for the scope of work, it will give you points. So your proposal or your technical work plan is worth 50 points. Your demonstration, your qualifications is worth 10 points. Your team's qualifications is worth 10 points. If you are working with a BEE third party, you get 15 points, and then those points are usually tallied up. And if you score obviously above a certain point, then it does facilitate, it helps you to move on to the next round. What activities does the client value the most? And those are the areas that you need to spend the most time in. The more you do it, the easier it becomes. I'm not saying that it should become like a template where you're just changing the names of the organization, because that is also going to show. And sometimes when you change the names and it doesn't change all the names or the abbreviations that's happened, take every bid as a singular document that you want to respond to in a way that is creative. You are telling a story, you are positioning yourself. It's basically your pitch. Be succinct. You want to make sure that you follow everything line by line, but you need to respond in a way that is going to differentiate you from your competitors, and you do that by telling a good story that is going to separate you from the rest. I hope this has been helpful, and if you have any questions about how to respond to the terms of reference, how to read the scope of work, please comment below, like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video. Cheers. Bye.